Something else I learned about evidence. There's a big difference between what is possible and what is reasonable. Anything is possible. We don't even count possible. Possible doesn't matter to me in a jury trial. Hey, it's 9:15, a little bit later than 9:15. How do you even know you're here? You could be oversleeping right now. You could be in a dream state right now, dreaming about being here this morning. And if you think, well, I can test that, I can ask the person next to me, or I can pinch myself, that could just be part of your dream. That's possible. You have to at least admit it's possible you're just dreaming all this. But it's not reasonable. Anything is possible, but not everything is reasonable. And that's why, folks, our jury standard, the standard of proof in the most difficult criminal trials, is not beyond a possible doubt. It's beyond a reasonable doubt. Why? Because if it was beyond a possible doubt, you'd never convict anybody. You'll always have some possible doubts, but reasonable doubts are things that are grounded in evidence. You're not to speculate during jury deliberation about possibilities. You're just to infer reasonably from evidences. That brings me to something else I want to talk about. Every case has unanswered questions. I've never worked a case that I could prove beyond a possible doubt. That's not the standard. It's beyond a reasonable. Why? Because you're always going to have some possible doubts. Always. Because you could dream of all kinds of imaginary possibilities to answer a question. But those don't count. Here's a case from about 1981. This man killed his wife and got rid of her body and then told us in 1981 that she had run off. And we believed it. We took a missing persons report. We didn't work it as a homicide until 1987. 6 years later, there wasn't a single piece of physical evidence. I couldn't tell you how he killed her, where he killed her, what he did with her body. I couldn't tell you any of that stuff. I couldn't tell you how he moved her car. All the jury had about 5 or 6 key, important, unanswered questions. They convicted this guy in about 4 hours because on the strength, basically, of his changing story over time. But no one believed us. Keith Morrison at Dateline, the first question out of his mouth was, Jim, why do you think this is the guy? I don't think he's the guy. You don't got any physical evidence. You've got very little on this case. No one believed us. His family, of course, didn't believe he was guilty. The victim's family loved this guy like a son-in-law. They didn't want to believe he was guilty either. But at the sentencing, he confessed to all of us and gave us the location of the body. You're able to convict somebody even with huge unanswered questions because you don't have to answer every question. You'll never answer every question. I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, you are going to hold a view called Christianity for which you cannot answer every question. That's okay. That's the nature of every worldview, is built on some unanswered questions. The question really is, how big and significant are ours compared to the other worldviews? I think we get a lot closer and we shrink the gap of unanswered questions more than anybody else. But just keep in mind, we have a jury instruction for this. It says the evidence need not eliminate all possible doubt because everything in life is open to some possible or imaginary doubt. This is what we tell jurors. If this is good enough to decide whether someone's going to go to jail or be executed, it's good enough for you to make a decision about a worldview. You cannot eliminate all possible doubts.